Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My name is Muhammad Khawaja. I'm here in this session to basically help you understand this interesting concept as part of Emirates Hackathon. First of all, I'd like to thank the Telecom Regulatory Authority, the TRA, and the Academy, the TRA Virtual Academy, for allowing me to be part of this program and get interactive with you in this exciting topic. So I'm here today to highlight the business model canvas, which is a great tool for businesses of all sizes. I think the business model canvas is a great tool because it summarizes a lot about the business itself in one sheet of paper. And this sheet of paper has a lot of details that each and every startup or big company need to realize for their business. So I hope you are excited. And this platform is allowing us to really get to learn about this topic and interact effectively. So without further ado, I want to kindly ask you to wait for the excitement. So first of all, I want to speak about the history of the term. Business model has been really a quite new term. I know many people who get weird about the topic at certain stage because maybe in certain culture, the word model is not very clearly understood or translated. So basically business model is quite new term. Before the term business model, there was more of an old term called business system. So if you felt like you don't really understand what a business model is in your own language or culture, maybe I can tell you, consider it as a business system. And maybe if the business system term, which is the old term, is not up to your understanding, maybe as you see now, all the visuals, you get to see that the business has a system to work on. And maybe it's your chance to feel and figure out the right business system or the right business model for your idea, for your company at different stages of its growth or its maturity. So I want to highlight a very exciting book, which is our reference for this workshop. It's Business Model Generation. It's available in around maybe 20 something languages around the world now. It's a global bestseller. This book tries to coin this term. And actually it's in 28 languages, including Arabic as well, for sure. So one of the exciting things about this book, it's crowd-authored. And I was lucky to be one of those 400 something co-authors of this book. So it's crowd-authored by many great experts around the world who really care about making the term and the implementation and the realization of business model something easy. And it's not something for maybe economists to understand, or maybe something for just like people who are deep into business to realize. So you need not to hold an MBA to really understand what a business model or what's the right business model for your business, or for maybe your department or your business unit inside a big company, or even inside the government. I know, like luckily in the government in UAE, everything works as a solid business, which requires like a lot of quality control, assurance, what's the value proposition. All these aspects, even for government organizations, are always needed. So it's not limited to private sector, it's even, publicly adopted in public sectors as well. So without further ado, I want to tell you that this book is really everywhere, as you can see in the photo. I just want to draw a smile on your face that maybe many people around the world are really like interacting with this book and learning about the term. But really, like, what's a business model canvas and how this canvas can coin a lot of details about your business. So it's a strategic management tool that you can, it really helps you internally to align with your team that this is what we do and this is how we do it. This is our business model. And it also aligns outsiders. It could be your potential investors, potential mentors. It could be potential partners who really want to know where do they stand in your business model. So again, it's an internal tool for you and your team to understand, and it's an external tool for maybe external shareholders, a potential investor, a potential partner would love to see as well and understand how what's your business idea, and how you communicate about it in a proper way as a business model canvas. So the business model canvas is defined into 9 building blocks. I like them all because each and every block of these, changing it a little bit can change the whole business model. So that's why if I tell you mathematically, like if we switch, I mean, one business model, one block of these 9 blocks, I'll speak about them shortly, will definitely end up with a tweak of a business model, maybe a total new business model. So sometime I can tell you we can reach thousands of business models of the same idea. I can tell you, I can help you do this idea with this business model, and I can tweak it with that business model, and we can keep tweaking the same exact idea or maybe the same exact value proposition, if we want to say a technical term, and make it done in a several business models. But the key is that you can't apply a business model that is not practical to your customers. So the key that makes one business model works and one not to work is basically the stakeholders around you, your customers primarily, and maybe how you're able to make this business model work and not to collapse. I'll speak about it shortly, but our first building block in the business model, I hope you all can see my slides clearly, is the customer segments. In order to really realize a business model, you need to set all your customer segments and understand each and every segment of these customer segments. So maybe you need to know what's their demography, how you can describe them, how you can basically involve them in your business and make sure that they are all involved in your value position, which I'll speak about shortly. So our next block in the business model canvas is value propositions. So I put them face to face because every customer segment, you might have a specific value proposition that meets their expectations from you as a business, right? So if you're a bakery, then maybe those like parents looking for best bread for their kids' sandwiches are your custom are basically your customer segments, and they are looking for bread for their kids' sandwiches the next day, right? So this is a customer segment you need to understand, and the value proposition is maybe what's the product or service specifically designed for this specific segment. So make sure that you don't set value propositions that's so broad, but they are really specified for each and every customer segment in a very clear, effective way. So if I tell you, what's the value proposition of sneakers, what you can tell me? Sneakers is chocolate and Galaxy is a chocolate, right? But I mean, from business deep analysis, the value propositions between those two chocolate bars are different, right? So sneakers, the value proposition of sneakers, it gives you, I mean, it fights your hunger, right? So it's so that's what even we can analyze from their commercials, from everything. So sneakers is a bar that if you're hungry, it's the bar to go to and try, right? However, on the other side, the Galaxy is the bar that gives you the peace of mind, the calmness, maybe those type of like high level feelings that they try to sell or promote or maybe introduce as a value proposition. So make sure that not to look at all value propositions as one. So even with two chocolate bars, we have two different value propositions. This is just a simple example. If I'll tell you this type of shampoo, right? What this type of shampoo is giving you as a value proposition versus that other type of shampoo, you can see many different value propositions we're getting from even products in the same segment, right? Or in the same category, I can say. For example, like shampoo X gives you the confidence because it fights the dandruff, and you know it gives you, because they translate this direct value proposition into what impact it gives on your life. So if it gives you the confidence, then they say we sell you the confidence, we sell you the ability to go out in your life and be able to communicate with confidence. While maybe the other type of shampoo maybe give you the refreshness or something. So imagine value propositions are not all the same, even in the same category of a product. So make sure that you really deep analyze what's your core value proposition for your business. The third building block is the channels, right? So imagine we have a customer segment and we have a value proposition. But there should be a channel that you will deliver your value proposition, you will deliver your marketing messages also through this channel, or maybe through a parallel channel that can vary from one business to another. But there is a way that will help you to deliver your value proposition, and that way should be well thought of. So if you want to be a training institute and be an online training institute, then you have to have this channel of an online academy, for example, or an online learning platform. That online learning platform is need to be well thought of because it need to be directed and geared and designed to serve this specific customer segment. For example, if you're teaching little kids something online, then those little kids need to find this platform up to their expectations in terms of funny colors, user experience, how easy it is, how easy you can manage, how easy you can play with. So imagine all those channels need to be really well thought of, and that's why it's a third and one of the. I mean, it's an important building block to care about. The fourth building block is the customer relationship. What type of customer relationship you set and you define between those customers or those customer segments and those value propositions? Is it like an automated relationship? Is it like a one-to-one type of relationship? Is it like a loyalty-based relationship, just like the Apple, right? Like Apple as a consumer brand tries to build this type of relationship compared to maybe other international vendors or brands or suppliers who put some sort of automation of a relationship. Like we make everything automated so that you get it promptly and you don't need this one-to-one relationship, right? So, so customer relationships can vary from one case to another and one business model to another. Um, it depends how you define your relationship with them. I'll give more examples as we go, but keep it in mind as a key block. Then a very important building block is your revenue streams. You need to understand and to set and design your business model so that you have a clear set of uh, revenue streams that is also, by the way, acceptable from your customer segments, right? And that is fair enough with your value proposition, right? So there are different type of revenue streams. One of which is basically, I mean, uh, I mean, for every business model, there are different type of risks. It could be subscription fees. It could be uh, like a one-time fee and you pay maintenance as you go. It could be pay as you go and you just let people, as they use the service, pay for what exactly they use. It could be like a fixed subscription, which is a very interesting business model because it keeps customers hooked up with you for a very long period of time compared to some business models who are one-off and maybe there are disconnection with the customer as they go. So for example, the typical retail experience is sort of a challenging model because if people stopped going to the retail store or maybe online and getting this item, then your relationship with the customer is disconnected. So imagine if you give the same exact product you get off shelf from the retail store as a subscription. That could change the way you really like hook up customers with you and keep them and retain them for a longer period of time. So this is just an example how we start to tweak business models. So changing this business model and introducing a new revenue stream, like for example, a premium subscription. That is, you give to certain highly paying customers who need more of your service. Or maybe you do a freemium, like giving something for free and you put like something that is paid with extra services. Just like maybe how we use a lot of online services, right? You try it for a limited features and for free, and you have the chance to pay more to get like something with more and bigger value proposition, right? So I hope you start to realize what is a business model as we tweak and play with uh, the blocks that we have just introduced. Going further, uh, the key resources. The key resources is a key business model that each and every business need to realize because if you set a business model that requires certain resources that you don't have, then in a way you're designing a business model you can't implement, right? So, so for example, part of the key resources could be physical, like having access to a building, maybe having some sort of a space, a shop, if it is like a physical interactive thing. It could be human intellectual, human resources, like you need to have human resources with certain skill set required to have this business model to work. It could be intellectual. You need to have certain IP, like a patent or something, that allows you to exercise this business model. Because if you don't have this IP or intellectual property, then that means, oh, you don't really able to execute this type of business model. You need to look for a different business model that does not require this intellectual property, whether it is a trademark that people maybe love or trust, whether it is like a patent that is will give you the protection and maybe will allow you to operate in certain space, because maybe the patent is not just a way to protect you, but it's a way to confirm that you're able to play in this space, and you're not intruding on somebody else's IP or intellectual property or patent. So for example, if you want to introduce a new type of service that is somebody else owns its patent, then this is a resource that you don't own. So basically, this will limit your chance to basically do it properly and be able to motivate customers to basically um, use you instead of others, or maybe allow you to operate with a proper legal structure that will protect you from others who may sue you because you're playing on their territory or maybe tapping into their patent or intellectual property. So this is a key thing to realize as we go. So I hope I'm not too quick. I hope you're really enjoying the flow of these blocks. Uh, the key activities. So we talked about, let me like sum up, because if you get lost, we have customer segments and we have value propositions. And then we have the channels and the customer relationships. We have the revenue streams, and then we have the key activities and key resources, right? So we talked about key resources, how they are key, but then there are key activities that for your business to do daily, weekly, monthly, I don't know, based on certain frequency, that would be the core of your business activity. So if you're a bakery, you need to produce bread frequently. You need to do this daily baking. You need to do like this quality control as you do the production of bread and different type of like food and beverage, whatever it is. If you're a dry clean service provider, you need to do offer the dry clean service, pick up the clothes if you do it like as an on-demand service, for example, and then like do the cleaning and everything and deliver it back if it is part of your value proposition. Maybe you just want people to put in their clothing and then you do it um, with certain time, and maybe you need to take the record of how you do things, put it in the system. You know, all these business activities are key, because if you if you're unable to do the business activities, the key business activities that is required for a certain business model to be done, then you'll not be able to have this business model properly run on your business. So make sure that you understand what key activities that is required for this business model to work. Because if you can't do them and can't do them well, maybe your business model will not work out. Maybe it will collapse, as I tried to describe it physically, right? So the key partners are the eighth block. I always like this model because sometimes without having certain partners, your business model may collapse as well. Imagine if your business model requires you having this partnership with this key organization. For example, you do something um, that requires partnerships of um, certain schools who are basically maybe work with you to introduce this thing, or maybe you need a partnership with a key authority inside your country that requires you to work with in order to provide this value proposition. So key partners are key, and I want to differentiate between customer segments and key partners, because sometimes there are, I mean, partners who are potentially a customer segment for you. You serve them as among different segments. And there are key partners who are not part of your customer segments, but who you really need to work with and figure out how to motivate them to work with you. For example, a payment gateway can be a key partner. If you don't have this payment gateway as a way to do certain I mean delivery of a service, then you can do it. I mean, and maybe get it a preferred relationship. So it could be a strategic alliance. It could be a competition. Do you know what's a competition? Which is basically like you compete with somebody and you cooperate with them at the same time. It could be your competitor who wants you want to launch a platform. For example, you're offering maintenance services and you go to several competitors and you tell them, oh, let's work all together under one app or maybe one platform that will allow us all to provide a great maintenance service that will bring more business to all of us. So this is a nice way to look at how a valuable how you as competitors started to cooperate all together in order to make this business model work. So those competitors are now key partners because you need to compete, like compete and cooperate as well in order to get them to work with you on this new app that is like allowing you all to get more business altogether. So this is a smart idea. Maybe you could consider for your business. Joint ventures. How do you do the joint ventures? Special buyer-supplier relationships. Like certain supplier gives you very special terms of paying, a very special terms of timing, a very special like requirements that is tuned towards you in their production line. So this is key. I hope you really like realize what exactly the key partners you need to figure out for your business. So I hope you're getting a glimpse and realizing and visualizing how this is applicable to your business. So uh, the last and very important block as well for sure among those nine. So we have nine building blocks is the cost structure. So cost structure is key because, as you see, we talked about revenue stream, but we need to understand how are our costs are structured and what's like every, I can say, uh, segment or part of the cost is broken down into costs that we really need to realize as we do our business. So if we need to understand what we pay for our human resources, what we pay in terms of licenses that's required to run the business, what is paid in terms of rents, all expenses that is required for this business model to work. So, and maybe this will help you realize, oh, if I don't have the resources to pay for rent, maybe I can do this business as a virtual business. So I get all the licenses, but then I don't need a physical space to work from because I feel like I will not be able to afford the rent as part of the previous business model. So I switched to a new business model that allows me to do a virtual service. So that could be an example. So maybe you need to realize what is really required for this business model to work and how you can be smart enough to remove and add certain cost structures in order to make this business model work or not to work. I hope you really enjoyed these blocks and you really see your business and visualize it on this nine blocks. I hope they really allow you now to understand what's the business system, right? So if you're an engineer or your background related to engineering, then the term business system maybe could be also relevant to you when I tell you what is your business model, what's the way you make value and share it and gain back and exchange value. So you know all these, I mean, canvas and all the business model concept is all about the exchange of value proposition, right? People give you money in return of service or product or value proposition at the bigger term. So make sure that you always understand these dynamics and your business system. So as you can see this canvas, you see it now in 3D, right? But imagine if I basically tell you that I want to put it in a more practical way. So basically, the best practical way to make your business model work is basically make it more of a flat format. So uh, So this is the flat format. I put it in both Arabic and English. That could make also your life easy to understand if you're an Arabic speaker. That figure there down there should be me, but I used to be more hairy, and I used to wear a tie most of the time. But now I'm with you casually. And away from me, I hope you see now these building blocks in a very nice way that will allow you to realize how you need really to take this chart and put it on your floor, on your wall, and then you basically make sure that along the way you run your business, along the way you design your business at the very beginning, along the way you introduce a new business unit inside your existing corporation, what type of, I mean, details under each and every block you need to figure out in order to design a new business model for that business unit, for your new startup, for new department inside the company, and for everything. So everything needs to have a business model in order to be sustainable, and it needs to be a sustainable business model, just like not something that you don't really invest well in intellectually. So you need really to invest well in those details. I hope everyone enjoys these briefings. Let me go through. Um, this is also the same format, but with more visuals. I hope you get to know and understand each and every block. Now, as we see the blocks, these are examples of a business model for a company. And I want to ask you basically, you can go and download these business models across the internet. You can say business model canvas on Google and get a lot of different templates. A big one you can print and put on your wall, a small one that you can put and scratch on and make you sure that you think of business models. But again, don't stay inside the room as you design business models. You need maybe to set a hypothesis, like set something that you think it works, or your hunch tells you that it works, but you need maybe to go then outside the room, outside the building, and talk to potential customers and tell them, oh, if I give you this service this way, would you like it or not? What's your pains and gains as a customer? Maybe this is something we'll talk about in future workshops, which is how we design our value proposition within the business model. But let's go back and focus on the big picture, which is the business model canvas and the business model itself. So I want to skip really the business model of the iTunes because I believe it's a bit like an old thing. Or maybe I can go through it quickly. I don't know. I get like this debate because like if you meet the new generation, maybe they don't know much about the iPod and iTunes. And if you meet the older generation, they really know it well. So it's a very popular business model. But like going forward, I want to go into the Facebook business model. It's something maybe like billions of people around the world use it. So, and Facebook's business model changed over time. So Facebook business model day one is different than a tier 5 and a tier 10, and maybe upcoming business models for Facebook is changing. How business models are changing every day for these businesses. What they focus on as a revenue stream changes over time. So what you'll see now is a business model in the lifetime of Facebook that is working. It need not to be the Facebook's current business model uh, in order in one another. So let's look at this example. I hope you can see my mouse cursor. Um, so basically, I mean, Facebook is basically providing meeting, working with these customer segments. So basically, they want to work with international global users. They need to work with advertisers, small and big, SMEs and big companies. That's why they introduce a way that allows you to pay small dollars to get like little ad here and there in order, because they see if you're an SME and you want to invest $10 in this little campaign, I allow you to do that because I care about you as a segment. So you see, you cater your service for the right segment you want to serve. But if like you're designed to serve only the big spenders and marketing and big advertisers, then you'll do it in a different way, right? So, and then Facebook at certain stage were very focused on game and app developers, and they wanted to develop games on the top of their platform, if you remember that. So this is also another customer segment. Maybe Facebook introduced a third and fourth new customer segment and decide on what value propositions they want to offer to those segments. So this is something interesting that could happen along the way. So business models evolve as you go in business. Now the value propositions, you see, they provide social networking platform for the international global users, right? And they give advertisers, which is you can see here, small and big sizes, right? They give them the audience who will click and interact with their ads, right? So you can see how much you really want to design what customer segments you want to talk to and what value proposition you want to give. So I hope you really like see this, I mean, value proposition and customer segment face to face, and how much I need to put the right value proposition for right the customer segment. And maybe I need to talk to um, um, game developers. I want to give those game developers the audience for their games and apps, right? So that was a customer segment that Facebook was clearly excited about, maybe in the past 7 years or something. Now, customer relationships, it's a long term and sticky. So if you basically put like um, if you put like a long-term relationship, if you join a social network, you stick to that social network and you find yourself attached to it. You daily log on your social network from your phone. Actually, it's in every hour. It's no longer daily. It's every minute you log into your social networks. And it has the network effect. What's the network effect? It's basically I will not join this social network unless I have enough friends there to interact with, right? So it's a double-sided challenge because if you manage to grow this, then everybody will follow quickly. But the first few joiners are the most challenging, right? So this is the network effect. For example, if I have this phone, right? If I'm the only one having this phone, it's not of value to me, right? But if it is like part of if everybody has a phone or if more people having more phones, then this is of big value to me and to everyone. So I hope you realize this example of the network effect. Now, what channels Facebook is using? So Facebook is using facebook.com, the apps, maybe the partner sites that put the Facebook ad space. They're also part of the channels of communication of the value proposition, right? So imagine there are different channels that they communicate the value proposition, whether they publish ads on third-party sites, right? And also they offer you access to the platform itself, which is available on the app and the web, and maybe the app is now the most needed platform. And this is basically the channels. I'll go to the revenue streams. So they make money in different ways. They make money from advertisers as they pay per click or per view. It's a different business model for the advertising model. And basically, they try to motivate you to basically use Facebook for long and advertise there. The key activities. So it's important that Facebook need to do software development and maintenance because simply you can't make this platform grow and serve their customers without continuous development. And also you need to maintain and develop the network and make people attached to it and excited to be part of it. So these are the key activities. So if you don't have the right software team, the right business and management team who would design the best user experience inside your network, interact with customers, then your key activities are not provided and done well. Your key resources, you need to have a brand, right? If you're not Facebook, so the brand of Facebook is part of the success of the business model of Facebook, right? So imagine if I do everything just like Facebook with a brand called, I don't know, my book. That would not work out like this now. So I need to step back in time and then say, what's the starting business model initially I need to start with? It could be different than this one. And then I can go to this business model. I have a distinguished brand as big as Facebook, maybe, because now Facebook is a trusted brand for its social networking customers or users who are basically trust Facebook to interact there, log there, put their lives there, and maybe enjoy the social networking aspect there. So the brand is part of the resources. If you don't have a distinguished brand that is as big as Facebook, then you need to decide a business model that is maybe not related and not requiring this establishment of a brand. And then they need to protect that brand, they need to grow it, they need to build that loyalty around it, right? So the brand is a key resource you need to have. For example, you can do, this is another example, you can do like the Apple business model without the Apple trademark, right? Because without a trademark that is as big as Apple, right? So you can just clone business model that basically Apple is using, Facebook is using, Microsoft is using, all these international players are using without having a comparable or a competitive brand, or maybe brand weight, I can say. So it's key. Now, the key resources is the large user base. Again, this business model works after Facebook managed to acquire a large user base, which could be the first few millions of users. So if you're not there yet, maybe you need to design a business model that will get you to this business model, right? So this is the evolution business models I want you all to realize as you design your business models. The IT infrastructure is key as a key resource. So you can't really have this business model work without the right infrastructure. You need to have a software and network engineers who really manage servers, everything, all these like key resources for such a business like Facebook that is required to have. Now, the key partners. PayPal is a partner for Facebook because it allows the payment to be done smoothly, securely, whatever. Maybe because simply it's key. At certain stage, Zynga was a partner because Facebook was focusing on the gaming and game development and game developers under the Facebook platform. But then maybe this is no longer the business model of Facebook as of now. So I just want to realize I put this on purpose because I want to tell you business models evolve. So Facebook's business model at the very beginning for Mark Zuckerberg at the very first day in his business is different than after a year, is different than after 5 years, is different than now and in the future. So it's an evolution of business models that you need to realize. And maybe you introduce a new service and you try out and it may not work out as you want. So you switch to something else and you keep growing and switching and testing. Now, the cost structure is the last block here, which I need to elaborate on. So part of the cost structure is the IT investment and maintenance that you need to have in order for this business to work. So you need to finance this very well. You need to realize what's the real cost of it. And you need to have the cost of employees and engineers and how big is that, and you need to pay those salaries and realize that cost as well. So this is the business system or the business model, as I'd love to call it, as a business system. I'm an engineer in terms of background, so it triggers something in my mind when I say business system. But for ease of use and for the common use of this is basically it's a business model. So patterns of business model is something key. I want to focus uh, on certain business models. So I want to go into the publishing business model as an example. I hope you're really like enjoying this discussion and feel like, and I will open room for Q&A. So I receive your questions and take them one by one. So feel free to share your questions and I'll definitely be able to answer them during this session at the very end. Um, so book publishing. So usually book publishers have a broad audience, as you can see, as a customer segment, and they give broad content. And what I mean, they look for selling titles, big hits. That traditionally what used to be as a book publisher, right? And they basically offer books through a retail network, could be a bookstore, maybe some online sales, that also part of the game. But also they don't really sell directly online as a book publisher. So as part of their business model, they just go to the retail network and say to the retailer, oh, here's the books, the best hits I managed to get. Please take them. And usually a book publisher published maybe 10, 20, 100 books at max a year. They don't really publish something beyond the norm of a publisher, right? The publisher has a certain limit because they select the most selling titles. They can't take any books, so any book proposed to them requires analysis commercially and everything away from also the content analysis and everything they do as a subject matter expert. But they need really to say, I can do it at a large scale. I just need to focus on maybe 50 books, maybe 20 books if I'm a small publisher, that I want to focus on, and they need to have most of them as hits, right? And I need to just take them to the retail network and tell them, please sell these books to me and pay me after 90 days, 120 days, I don't know what terms they have, right? And then they need to do key activities. They need to look for the right content, so content acquisition, they need to publish, and they need to do sales well, right? Um, and the key resources they need to have publishing knowledge, they need to have the right content that people really like to buy as books, and enjoy and consuming, right? So their revenue stream is wholesale revenue. So they give wholesale deals to the retailers, and that's it. This is the end of their contribution in this value, right? They just sell big bookstores, maybe big retail networks, this um, book, and they say, okay, you as a distributor or retail network, this is this book at this more of this title, more of that title, and that's it. And their cost structure is publishing and marketing, right? So this is basically the business model, the old business model of book publishing. Now, the new business model of book publishing is quite different. They're now new, and this is just an example. You can keep tweaking any business model for your exact vision and idea. So, for example, your customers are no longer broader audience. You can have a very specific book for a very specific niche, and this niche need to be something that is not as big as you want. So it need not to be millions of people. It could be thousands of people who wants to read about this very specific topics. Um, that is really like somebody wants to write about it. So imagine it's less of I need to find mass audience and I need to find big titles that matches those mass audience. So I need not to work with celebrity authors. So this new business model, as an example, it tells you that anybody can be an author unless they have just good content for a small niche to read it. So it need not to be, I need not to have a very selling topic that is applicable to millions of people. Maybe I need to have a very interesting topic. It could be a story or a novel that targeting certain customer segment that will enjoy it without the need to really invest much of like a broader title, right? So we have niche authors and niche audience. So what do they give to niche authors? They give them self-publishing service. They tell them, okay, we'll not keep printing uh, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of copies. We'll allow you to just basically do your book on a PDF, for example, and you print it on demand, right? And you basically you need to go and promote your content yourself. We just give you the platform to do it, right? So we no longer care about how much your content is attractive to how big is the segment. We just care about you excited about this niche topic that's stuck to niche audience, right? It need not to be very big and broad as before. So I give those niche authors a self-publishing platform, and I give those niche audience a marketplace to look for content and shop for the right content. Maybe I need a small book about this, like traditional cooking of this people who live in this area, or maybe who lived and I don't know this part of the world hundreds of years ago, or maybe I need to read something about poetry in this old language that maybe nobody is actively using nowadays. So imagine how much your content can be niche and your audience can be niche, but that's fine if you have a self-publishing platform. The channel could be lulu.com. Lulu.com is an example of on-demand publishing platform where you just go and you put your content and you say, oh, if there are 10 people who wants to buy this, I'm happy with that. I will print the copies once they order them. And they have this nice platform that gives you a nice polished book that's printed on demand, right? So now Lulu.com don't care about big titles. They just care about having maybe hundreds of thousands of books that is sold to smaller segments all over the world. So imagine this is quite a new business model that maybe would allow you to excel in this space instead of just fighting the big players who are always there and who manage to be very good in attracting big authors and reaching big distributors. So this is a new way to compete with well-established competitors in your industry or market, right? So, and they need to do sales, they give sales commissions as a revenue stream. They maybe put small publishing fee that will protect them if this title does not sell anything. They still pay little fee as a self-publishing author for putting their content there and making it available on demand. So I pay a little affordable fee that will make the platform sustainable even if nobody ordered my title or my content. Um, the key resources for this business model to work is the print-on-demand infrastructure. This is a new technology that how you can have a polished book quickly done on demand. And that need requires a software platform for people to say, oh, I want this book, going to this address, pay this money, and get it in 5, 10 days, 20 days, whatever time required. So this print-on-demand infrastructure is a key resource that if I don't have, I will not be able to have this business model to work in front of you, right? So imagine if this key resource I don't have or they don't have the know-how for, or maybe it's not there as technology, I will not be able to have this business model to work, right? So I hope you always ask yourself these questions. What if I don't have this key resource? Would this business model work? What if I can do this key activities? Would this business model work? What if this key partner is not there for me? Can I still have this business model to work? So these are direct questions you need to ask yourself. Um, Multi-sided platforms. I like these very well because the key example of this is Google, right? So the multi-sided platform of Google is very popular, very well known. I want to put it on your eyes because the Google search, because Google has a lot of business units. Each business unit has a different business model and a different value proposition and different services. So definitely, Google Maps has a different business model than Google Search and different other products. Maybe they have interconnections, right? But like each one need to be having a business model by itself as a business unit inside the business, or maybe as a new startup within an ecosystem or something. So the Google business model is attracting advertisers, web surfers who are searching Google, right? And the content owners, right? So those are the segments that Google talks to in their Google search talks to in their business model. And so basically, the advertisers, they get targeted ads. And I mean by targeted ads is basically, I will not put your ads to masses. I will put it to the right segment that I will help you to reach out to. So it's very targeted, and you just pay for what engagement they do, what clicks they do. So if you design your campaign well, you get to your audience and you just pay for the audience you got to. You don't pay for ads that is fixed there, which is the old school of ads. Maybe 20 years ago, there was even more. There was ads who are fixed there, not properly targeted. So that was not really effective for me to pay a fixed amount of money for a fixed ad that is placed there. You need to put dynamic ad that is targeted. So that was something that Google and many key players in the ad space introduced that was not there before, right? It's an evolution of the way that ads were not served this way before. So that was one service that it gives to advertisers. The second service it gives to web services is free search, right? Even though you feel like it's something we already have, it's something we enjoy every day now, it's something that is, you go there to Google because it's free, right? Imagine if I tell you every search keyword is paid $50. Would you go there and search every there? No, right? So the free search made Google and a free quick search, right? Like with quality results as well. All these sub aspects of the search is key for me as a web surfer in these customer segments to like their value proposition, right? And what they give also to content owners, monetization, because if I run a blog or run a website, I can now put Google Ads on my website also, because Google Ads is not only on Google search page. It's also I can find on any blog or website. I can maybe visit site X and Y and Z and find ad space that is served by Google. So for me as a content owner, I can now put Google ads there and I get monetization for my content, right? So imagine if I manage to allow those content owners to monetize their content. That was part of the value proposition that Google business model is giving. Now, the key streams are keyword auction. So you pay for the keywords you want your results to show on. And, and also part of the value proposition is free. Like the web surfing is free. So it's not a revenue stream that is paid, but it's there mentioned because you need to realize that part of what you do does not drive revenue stream. It's there for free. So you need just to keep this in mind. On the other hand, you need to have the platform, the team, you need to have the search platform, and you need to do what it takes to finance and spend on this platform to work and grow. I hope you really like start to absorb more about this term. So one of the key, I mean, uh, I mean, business models many people talk about is the razor and blade, and it's a sticky business model because simply, and by the way, this business model is evolving. Like Gillette is no longer having one product that is under one business model. Gillette and many competitors is now used to disrupt the way that this business model is done. So basically, I can tell you, for example, that Gillette is targeting customers who would pay for the razor handle, right? And pay for the blades, right? And they basically this is the traditional business model of Gillette as the very beginning. Now they have disposables, now they have different type of other products with different business models. But the key product was basically I pay for the handle and maybe it's subsidized compared to the real cost of the handle with all the patent and engineering and designs done there and with the steel and all the expenses around it, it's there and I pay for it once and I keep paying for the blades. And guess what? It's a very uh, hook and bait business model because if I get to pay for the handle from Gillette, I need to keep buying the blades that is provided by Gillette, right? Or at least a compatible provider who also pays for Gillette to use their design and their mechanism of the blades, right? So this is a very interesting business model. Imagine, and it's very common, for example, in the printer industry, you pay for the printer uh, uh, in a very affordable way, but then you need to fill in like pay for the ink, right, in front of cartridges or whatever type of printer you may have in your office or you're at home. That is will require you to keep paying for this company for frequently because now they hooked you in their business model, so you're stuck there and you need to keep paying for their ink, for their blades when we speak about the Gillette product. And this is a very smart business model, right? Because simply it hooks you in for long and you can't like get out of this hook until maybe you don't like Gillette, until you find Gillette products are maybe not properly priced, not good quality, or maybe have something wrong in the market, right? But initially, this is a very sticky and hook and bait model. This is how they call it. So I hope you really think of some certain business models that keeps your customers stuck to you, keep them within this ecosystem of lock-in business model. They're looked in a way to keep consuming something from you in a fair way. One of the interesting aspects of this business model is that how competitors try to do something different. For example, one of the key competitors of Gillette tried to introduce a total interesting and different business model, which is I call um, um, yeah. So something interesting I want to highlight is that a competitor of Gillette called the Dollar Shaving Club. It's a very interesting global competitor that Gillette competed with. So this Dollar Shaving Club did something quite different. They said we want to offer disposable blades, or maybe even like different type of product design, but maybe their thing is most of the time disposable, but they offer it on subscription. And why they offer it on subscription? Because they say like men, when they use the razors, they know how they consume on average every month. So if I know I need like 10 blades to shave my chin frequently, then I just buy them up front once a month, and they ship them to my doorstep once a month at a very affordable rate. And this subscription is something very good, because if I like it once, I'll keep getting it with the credit card recurring payment and everything. If I'm happy, I will keep this happening. And that could be a very exciting model compared to the retail model, because for Gillette, if I run out of blades, I may reconsider or maybe think twice if I need to keep buying Gillette or go to the competitor, right? But for the subscription model, it's pushed to you, and it not to be this pull effect, right? I just think about it as a way to keep people looked in their business model, or basically looked in a different aspect, which is you pay for a subscription and you just get subscription for the 10 plates package, and I get them every month at the first day of the month on my doorstep. And that at a very affordable rate as well. The rate need to be affordable for this business model to work. And this is a very competing business model to the traditional way that we learned from Gillette now, and maybe to other tweaked business models around this type of product. So I hope you liked it, and I hope you basically like the way we do think about business models in a way or another. So one last slide I want to highlight: the business model and the business plans are very interconnected, because simply key parts of your business model and business model canvas there need to be translated into your business plans and vice versa. So they're very interconnected. You can't really do a business plan without thinking of your business model in deep, because it's a translation of the business plan. It's not something that is isolated from it, for sure. Um, and a key slide is basically, before I start taking questions, is that you need to plan for your startup idea, if you're running a startup, for your business, if you're having existing business, for your corporation or even organization, whatever it is, for profit or non for profit, in order to really succeed. So failing to plan is planning to fail. Um, um, and I want to start by taking questions. So I'm there. Uh, so sorry, I want to start taking questions. Um, and if I mention promoting government service through digital channels, smart applications. Yeah, so one of the questions I got is basically from a distinguished participant in this workshop, in this hackathon. He says, or she says, how can the business model used to increase interest and usability, mainly value proposition and promoting government services through digital channels? So looking at, for example, you're a government unit, you designed a business model around it, how you basically want to offer the service. So if it is an e-channel, then looking at the value proposition canvas, sorry, the business model canvas at the very beginning, you need to realize how much this value proposition, it could be an e-service from your government provider, it could be from your municipality as an example, or from the certain government body, what channels I want to channel it in. For example, if it is something, I want to give an example just to be practical. If it is a government service that I use frequently, then it needs to be done from the app, and it needs to be done in a way that I can renew it smoothly, right? If it is something that I do once a year, then maybe I can do it in a different way inside the app. Maybe I can do it if I have one holistic app for the whole like government body I work with. It could be this ministry, for example, or that ministry. Then that's fine. But if it is like something I don't use frequently, then maybe I can do it over SMS. That's something like I get one SMS notification once a year and just do it. Just like, for example, your driving license, you don't renew frequently, right? So I want to design this renewal of this service in a way that is good enough, because I don't remember after 5 or 10 years it will expire. So maybe I need just that reminder to come to me at the right time. It could be an SMS service, as simple as that. I'm not really the guy who wants to push everything to come in a very deep, technical, sophisticated way, but it could be done on a proper app that gives me the chance to focus on what services I need to care about now, and what services that is not now I need to worry about, I can delay them further. So yes, understanding your business model affect your usability of your product or your channel. It could be the app that, for example, you as a government body use for your service. So I hope you basically, when you design your app, you say, what's our value proposition to our customers, which are maybe citizens and residents of this country, and how I want them to get this service at the right way through the app, how I want them to pay easily for the service, how I want them to log in easily and securely for the service. So all of these are value propositions I need to cater for when I design my channel, which is the app for the government. I'm happy that really government bodies in UAE are very much smart in designing business models that fits their customers and their segments, المتعاملين, المستفيدين, the beneficiaries of these service, who are basically people who wants to get this service at high quality, at speed, at the right convenience, with happiness. You know, all these aspects of the value proposition, they are there in front of your eyes when you design your business model and your value proposition, which is something I will deep dive into maybe another session, is key. Because if I don't design my value proposition and my business model catering for these customers, I may end up like not getting them happy about what I do or excited about the way I do it. So they may end up like trying to do things not the way I want to channel it through, right? For example, if I design my app not in a way effective to promote, to really like serve them at the best way, they may go to the physical office of this government body and try to do it manually or traditionally. Even though like if it is not available now, they need to also like avoid using these digital channels if it is not designed well to meet this value proposition at the right way the customers want it to be. So you need to be customer centric in designing your business model and applying it. Um, I want to take another question. How can a project be created without financial support or fund? This is a very big question and very important one. This is called bootstrapping. So I like this business thinking and discussion, because sometimes at the very beginning, you need to design a business model that requires minimal funding, or maybe some sort of, I don't want to say zero funding, because like there is a resource you want to put in. If it is not cash, it's in kind. So sometimes you need to start a business with some sort of like uh, minimal cost, or I can say zero cost, but like I try to avoid costs. So how we can do that, how we can bootstrap a business, I can say, simply by trying to get some partners excited. I can say many examples. If you get some partners excited to provide you with services at can you hear me? Yes. So if you get your partners excited to give you or supply you, for example, I want to do online courses. If I manage to start this business with like a free account on my Zoom tool, and then get people excited to use this service. And as I get their initial excitement, so I do it maybe free of charge at the very few courses, at the very few sessions. As they get their interest, I validate if they need the service. So I'm a big fan of a way that you need to validate your service before you spend money on it, or you invite investors to invest money on it. So the first step I want to give is that you need to maybe try to give some free services to your target audience, depending on the product or service. If that works, and if you find the right interest, for example, if I say, if I conduct a workshop about something I know well, like teaching English online, and if I get 20 participants who attend my course, the first course free of charge, and when I send them a free code that, okay, now or a discount code that if you join this course next time, uh, you'll get this discounted code that maybe allow me or push me to offer it at cost level. But like this will validate of those people will use this code and join this course the next time, for example. So I need to go step by step. This is my first step. I need to also try to give something for free at the very beginning. I need to give something for free from suppliers and partners and tell them the big picture. If I succeed, if you're my supplier, and if I succeed, then we will succeed all together. So I'll make sure I'll get more of your service to my customers. So you need to talk to your suppliers, whether you're what type of business you do. I like also to motivate you to do businesses that is on the top of existing infrastructure, just like when you Uberize a service, right? For example, you didn't need not to own dry clean services, service shops to really offer dry clean service. You can work with many dry clean service providers and tell them, I will run a service on the top of your service. I will put a Facebook page, as simple as that, and tell people, get your laundry done quickly if you're in this area. And then start to test that. If it works, then I go a step further. So maybe you can start providing your service through a Facebook page that is really, and connect with few service providers who already have their infrastructure there. You need not to always invest in an infrastructure so much. Um, if my cost is high, this is an interesting question from, so the previous question was from Saeed. Thank you, Saeed, for asking that key question about the cost, and I hope I answered the question. From Samira, she kindly says and asks, if my cost is high, one key of the model is not completed, I will succeed. So if your cost is high, and if you compare your cost to your revenue streams, right? Then this is the way you say this business model works or not. And there is another aspect of it. But I mean, if you say, I will make out of these revenue streams 1,000 dirhams, right? And the cost of running this business model monthly is 1,500 dirhams. This is just an example. So definitely this business model will collapse, right? But if I say the revenue streams will drive me like 10,000 dirhams a month, and the cost structure monthly is like 5,000 dirhams, then this is a working business model as a business model level. But for sure, you need to consider the cash flow, which is a different discussion away from the business model, because you will not get all your money at the right time so that you pay your expenses at the right time, right? So considering cash flow is another discussion. But yeah, if you want to consider this business model was working or not, you need to compare your revenue streams and how they are bigger or higher, or how much bigger they are from your cost structure in terms of numbers. And that's a very key question. Thank you, Samira, for raising this question, because it tells a lot about if this business model is feasible financially. Um, and then it will put you in a discussion how I can reduce costs and how can I introduce new revenue streams for this business model to really be more profitable or more effective or more feasible. So taking more questions, there's a question from Mr. Muhammad Shatnawi, maybe, or Shtewi. I'm sorry if I did not say the name well. What's the most important value for government services users to attract them to use smart app rather than going to happiness centers? Well, this is, I mean, a big question. I can't claim I can cover all dimensions of it, but what's related to our business model thinking and business model discussion is that I think um, designing the app in a customer-centric way is key. For example, maybe I will need to be more practical. If your service requires you to do, for example, I want to discuss an ATM machine. If your ATM machine gives all functions it provides equally, like they are all same buttons, all on one dashboard equally, I think this is a bad user experience design compared to an ATM machine that considers the key activities users commonly do and giving weight to the activities that is more required or more demanded than the ones who are less demanded or less needed. So putting everything on the forefront of everybody on the app is a distraction. Uh, Maybe there are some services, and this is the customer centricity. I always go into what is a smart government, right? I believe smart government is giving the beneficiaries the right time at the right resources at the right context, right? So this is a big message, right? It has a lot of details within. But like, if I want to give the right content at the right resource at the right context, this is key. Because if I tell you about something that you do um, need to know in the evening, I give it to you in the very morning, it's a distraction. It's a waste of real estate within the app. So I think designing a customer app for the government need to always think of the customer. And this is a very interesting dimension, what I call and what's commonly known in business, the segment of one. It's a very interesting, aspect. I know maybe many people in the government learn about this model. The segment of one term is key because you look at each and every customer. For example, you serve millions of people, right? I look at each and every one of those millions as a segment by himself or herself. And then I design an app that is dynamic to a level that is maybe my interface of this app is different than his or her interface of the app among those millions. Maybe you'll get some people who get something similar, but customer segments are even varied. Those are sub-segments, and you can't really always get like clear segments that has boundaries among other segments. So what I want to say about the concept that is commonly known in business, the segment of one, this is the term of the business, that I need to look at each one as on his own. For example, if I have a family, I need not to get content about services that you offer to families and vice versa. This is a distraction for me if I get about it in my app. So I need to be customer centric. I need to look at the segment of one. So I need to be really available or smart enough to make my app as a government body smart enough to really serve each and every one by himself or herself. It's that much of customer centricity that if you do well, you'll really end up having people more happy about going to the app instead of going to the customer center or the happiness centers that you do, like Almanara ones or other ones, as I know in UAE. So I hope I answered your question. I know these are very tough questions that maybe goes into debates, and this is a very interesting and fruitful discussion. I like the thinking inside the government because it drives a lot of stimulation about ideas, how we can really think of business model um, and value proposition that's geared towards the customer very well. I get the notice that there are no more questions there, so I'm really happy that, and I really hope that you got a lot of value out of this session. I really enjoyed also being interacting with you here through this screens and cameras. I really want to thank again the TRA, the Telecommunication Regulatory Commission Authority, sorry, for organizing this along with the Academy, the TRA Virtual Academy, for giving us the chance to interact with you as participants and maybe put this content online for many people to be able to make use of it after even this live session. So that this business model thinking, and I love to call it business model thinking, would spread around people from different industries and allow them to really think in a different way about their ideas, products, and services and value propositions. Thank you so much for your time and looking forward for the next session in this hackathon. I know there are many exciting sessions coming along, and this is just the very beginning. Thank you so much and enjoy this hackathon to the best. Thank you.